What's up, YouTube? 2011 Hyundai Sonata. I'm gonna be changing the sway bar bushings, and you see those two bolts back here is what I gotta take off. And once I take those off, then I'm able to take this plate off, and the bushing is under that plate. But before I do all of that, I have to disconnect the sway bar link, and here I have it disconnected. The reason to disconnect it is the tension that's on it is not going to allow you to take that bushing out, so you have to disconnect it. Take the bolt out. I have another video on how to replace it that'll show you how to take it out. And a quick tip is make sure you have jack stands. You can see my jack stand right here supporting the vehicle, and what I do is I put a jack under here when I'm ready to put it back together, because the hole is not going to line up. So I use a jack to manipulate whichever side I'm working on to get the hole to line up. You could also use like a pry bar. You really don't want to wedge it between the axle, but you could use a pry bar and use like very gentle pressure to make sure this line up and you get that back in. Now this one in here is a 12 mil. Just want to get it on it. Might need to use an extension, but I'm able to wedge this in. And these are not usually torqued very tight, so once I get that on, I crack loose. Got that bottom one loose. Now I head for the top one. Same thing, I'm gonna crack this one loose. And it's not a lot of room to work with, but you could get it done. And pretty much just ratchet both of them off. And here I switch to a deep socket. Same 12 mil. So now I just get my hand in there and I'll finish taking it out. Now once both are out, then see it's loose like this. Now you just gotta use whatever method works, a large screwdriver or a pry bar, and just try to take this plate off. And once the plate comes off, then you could replace the bushing, put the plate back on, and put the bolts back in. Because this has never been changed, the rubber is kind of fused to the to this collar. So what I've done, I just put my screwdriver in here. I kind of move it back and forth to kind of break it loose, and then I'm just wedging it in to take this off. And I took the other side off. So on the passenger side, this is the driver side. On the passenger side, I have these bolts out, so the entire sway bar is loose. Now, because of that, I'm able to move it back and forth. So I pull it out a little so I have room to work on it. And I'll just take this off, put the new one on. Maybe I have to put just a little bit of grease on it. Just be careful what kind of grease you put on rubber, because some grease actually deteriorate the rubber over time. But I'll try to get it on without putting anything on. And if I have to, I have a lot of grease, so I'll just see which one is best for rubber and use that. Or maybe a little soapy water. That might be the best thing actually. Use some, get a spray bottle, put some soap with water, and you use that to either take it off or put it back on. So just a combination of things, like I said, I'm using to take it off. There you go, that's off. The opening is at the bottom. Shaft feels good. Sometimes where the rubber squeezes, it actually leaves like a rough spot, or it wear out the metal and makes it become smaller. So keep that in mind when you're ordering new bushing. Some cars, they actually have two sizes. They have one size if you're replacing the sway bar, but then they have another size which the inside diameter is a little bit smaller to accommodate if you're just replacing the bushing and putting it on an old bar. The inside diameter is a little bit smaller so that it sits more snug. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not going to use a caliper to measure anything, but you could just look at this and tell the diameter on the old one is a little bit bigger than the diameter on the new one, and this is just from wear. I use a screwdriver to open it up a little bit. Gotta open it up some more. Okay, so what I did, I used the pry bar, get in there, twist it, and just pry it open a little wider. Hopefully I could get this on. I think I can. Okay, so now it's on. Getting the plate on is another story. A trick that I've used in the past is I put the plate on, I line it up over the hole, I try to catch the bolts, and then as I tighten it, it pulls it in. So what I basically did, I got some soapy water and I sprayed it down, and from here the bushing is already on. So now I put the plate on. I just reach in, hold it like that, and I'm going to use my pry bar, put it on it. I'm pushing the pry bar, the handle of the pry bar upwards. I'm not prying down like you would usually pry down. I'm going up. So when I move up, it's going to push that collar, it's going to push it down. Just watch for any lines, anything that might break. You want to steer clear of that. There we go. Now to line it up, if you actually look, you'll see a mark on the sway bar, and if I zoom in, you see that green line. So once you get the bushing right to the end of that green line, then you know it's lined up correctly. And you do the same thing on the other side, and that's what's going to make sure the sway bar is equal on both sides. And right there, they're lined up like that. You just catch the bolts, tighten them down, snug them up. You put your sway bar links back on, and from there you're good to go. And if anyone know about an easier way to do this, please feel free to leave it in my comments. I'll definitely read it, take a look at it, and try to apply that next time. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.